Hey, look, kids, Jay Leeson's back from the Gulag with a new radio show. Probably a bunch of new columns coming from places like Texas Monthly and Breitbart, Texas, and everything else coming soon. Good to see you.
Good to be here.
Let's talk about our cotton farmers and rural economy. The drought's just kicking a guy when he's down here, but you had an article recently in Breitbart, Texas, been talking about some stuff out of there. Why hasn't all of this happened yet in the Senate? Why aren't they coming to the aid of someone who obviously needs some help, like our cotton farmers?
Yeah, well, Wes just did a segment on the drought and how farmers are having to prepare. Farmers are also having to prepare this year with a lot of confusion on what's happening with this initiative, this proposal, a provision I should call it, to get cotton budget neutral on the House version that passed December 22nd, to get cotton in a budget neutral provision in the disaster bill. And if that goes through, it could have great impact on the 18 crop. If it doesn't, then we're still in a lot of confusion as to what's going to happen until the next farm bill passes. So the House did pass on December 22nd their provision, and Conaway, Chairman, House Agriculture out of Midland, Mike Conaway, worked really hard to get that provision on there and whip the votes, and Arrington helped whip those votes as well. He was talking just earlier to get it over the Senate. Now, the Senate is like a wall itself. Things hit it and then just stay and wait.
Right.
You know, and that was the question that I began to ask is, what is the hesitation on this disaster bill? And there's the continuing resolution and the extension until the 8th and all that conversation, but why hasn't the disaster bill been taken up? And on the Senate side, and the more I asked, the more I asked lobby guys, I asked guys on Capitol Hill, over and over again, one name came up. It wasn't Chuck Schumer, it wasn't Rand Paul, it wasn't Nancy Pelosi, it was Texas Governor Greg Abbott.
Really?
Has drug his feet. They tried to get it to the floor previously, but Abbott was still demanding more money. That piece came out on a Thursday. He finally signed on to the disaster bill on Tuesday. And when I inquired into his office as to, this is what I've heard from multiple sources, does the governor have any comment on it? That was on Thursday, January 18th. That morning before we went to publish, we got a letter, a pre-release of a letter that Governor Abbott, it's not very common that a governor sends a letter directly to Senate Appropriation Chair and Vice Chair, but that's what he did. And he listed out all the typical extolling of farmers and the importance of the economy and how they're, but it had a lot of detail in there about China and things that you'd not necessarily heard Abbott talk about. And I don't know how that played on the Hill, but I know that I got a call later that day after publish clarifying that it wasn't, after all, sent to Chairman Thad Cochran, Vice Chairman Patrick Leahy, but it was sent to Cornyn and Cruz.
But it wasn't a resounding backing of the bill as it was, right?
No, it didn't say anything about disaster.
Right.
To me, to just be candid with Mud on his show, that was a cover your rear letter, because the backstory here, what people in West Texas need to understand is that it's budget neutral right now. And every year at the end of January, the Congressional Budget Office lays down a new baseline. And that baseline could be laid down anytime now. And if they issue a new score to the cotton proposal, the House cotton proposal, and it costs more than $1, then you're going to have dairy come after in Minnesota, up north, come after those dollars. The corn lobby, the corn growers are going to see dollars and wonder, what's their take there as well. It's going to become, I know that Congressman Arrington is very optimistic, but you talk to a lot of people, if that budget score comes back and it's not budget neutral anymore, then this whole thing could be reset because of the political dynamics. Conaway, earlier, a year ago, tried to do something with cottonseed in Stabenow, Debbie Stabenow, Minnesota, on the Senate side, killed it. And Conaway didn't mince words on how he didn't appreciate that.
Yeah, right. Well, she's done that before, too. Hey, before we go, new radio show coming up on KRFE here pretty quick.
Right. AM 580.
Yep.
The Other Side of Texas, othersideoftexas.com. He's talking about the news, views, and issues from the other side.
From the other side of I-35 and all that kind of mess. Jay Leeson's our guy. Good to see you.
Great to be here.